to my first ever house tour. I have always wanted to do one of these. It is just so cool to be able to share this with you guys. I will say this house is 107 years old, which means that there is going to be a lot of areas of this house that need work, that need help, that need attention. This is not a finished house by any means. Let's get started with the sunroom, which is the room we are currently in and one of my favorite rooms. This room definitely needs some work. I have a lot of ideas for this room and I do have a little renovation video in the works for this room. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best because this camera lens does not zoom in or zoom out, but it's my best lens and I want this video to look really good. So right now we are currently drying some sunflower seeds in this corner here. This is kind of an unfinished corner. So we have a little swan cross stitch. I found it at an antique store. Things just kind of laying around. I found this basket at a thrift store and I just thought it looked great in here. I love the greens. Originally I was going to paint this red floor, but I'm very glad I didn't because that would be so dumb. This trim was originally a completely different color and it really clashed with the red. It was this orange wood stain and I'm so glad that I ended up painting it like a cream because this house really needs a lot of contrast because of how much wood is in it. And I feel like this cream really does a good job at contrasting the floors. In the corner over here, we have my daughter's little art station. I have an IKEA sensory table here that we use for pretty much everything from coloring to painting to sensory play. She even eats some for meals here. Because my daughter lives here and is a toddler, there are going to be some messes, like the sink is out still because she's been playing with it. And this little area here definitely needs some work when it comes to organizing, but I do have it sort of organized. I have these little IKEA tins and containers I put a lot of her stuff in, but it is really nice to have her be able to use this spot pretty independently. Over here I have this little swan print. I love finding these old prints, these old photos, and putting them in frames that I thrift. I just feel like it makes the house feel so much more found and eclectic. This room serves a lot of purposes. One of them being is that this is an art room slash plant room slash craft room slash learning room, and we have a lot of little learning materials here. I thrifted this ladder shelf. We have learning cards, some blocks, recyclables to use for art. I have like a bunch of paper plates in this basket, and then on here is her Play-Doh and a lamp. Over here we have this shelf that I've had since I was like 18 when I moved out, and it basically stores all of my daughter's crafting supplies, random supplies. It's basically like a junk drawer. This is where I put all of our plants in our house. We end up moving these plants to different parts of the house so that we can start doing our seed starting in here because of having all this natural light. It's the perfect space to start your garden in, which is so fun. Welcome to the dining room. The dining room basically faces the sunroom, which is amazing, so you get kind of this light. I love this room so much, but I do feel like this room needs some character. I want eventually to get a new dining table. This is a hand-me-down that we have from our aunt. We love it because it serves us good and we haven't needed to buy one yet, but eventually I either want to refinish this one or have a little bit of a longer table. Even though I have like 3 tablecloths, I try to make it unique and different. And then behind me is a really cute coffee station. Over here is our coffee station. I want to replace this. I love it. It served its purpose, but now I want actual espresso. So that is something I'm asking for Christmas. Over here we have just a coffee grinder. This little table thing was actually in the middle of the kitchen, which makes no sense because as large of a kitchen that I have, it definitely does not suit something like this. So this was completely free and it works great because it's really beautiful. And we just put all of our coffee grinds in here. I also put a bunch of teas in here, hot cocoa stuff. Sometimes I'll put like treats and chocolates and things in here. On the same wall as the coffee station, we have this very unique corner. And the reason why I call this a unique corner is because behind me are what was once a maid's stairwell. Now it is just a stairwell. It's so creepy. I love it. I love that there is this like creepy little stairwell. I've never been in a house that had a maid's stairwell before. I've seen people have homes with like multiple stairwells and things like that, but this is just so unique. And again, when I purchased this house, it was filled with crap. The previous owner was supposed to clear this whole thing out and didn't. If you guys want to see where this stairway actually leads to, stay tuned to the end of this video where you guys get to see what this room leads to and the uniqueness of the house. Some of these are just so old and fun and so perfect for this house, like this old cookbook that smells like old everything, and it's just amazing. With all the wood tones, I feel like the balance of very like gold feminine tones helps make the house feel bright and feminine without having to like whitewash everything. Of course, we have the kitchen. I love this kitchen. I have a love-hate relationship with this kitchen. It is beautiful, but there are definitely some things about it that I would love to change eventually, and some things about it that I think could use some updates. It's kind of hard because the lighting is pretty bad in here. The cabinets are showing a lot more orange than they actually are in person. Here's kind of what it looks like. I love it. It's functional. This is one of the cabinets, and then there are still some up there. Really, really tall, which I love. I love the storage, but I cannot reach. Behind me will eventually be a mudroom. My husband has to build a sort of situation for this all to make sense in. And then the basement leads down there. The basement is not something I care to show. It is just an old, big old, gross, stinky basement. But the cool thing is this door. We found this door in the basement, which was very fun. This door is really nice in the winter because there is no radiator in this kitchen. There's no radiator in the dining room. And there's no radiator in the sunroom. So this whole area gets very cold. The saving grace is the oven, which I'm not like gonna turn it on like we're, you know, in the 1700s. So I don't do that, but it gets cold in here. So closing this room off helps it not feel so cold because the door behind me that goes to outside is definitely on its last leg. It is not very good and not very ergonomic, if you will, but it does let in a little bit of light because it is a French door. We have this big, beautiful sink, which I love. In the middle is a garbage disposal. This area serves us very well. Our dishwasher, all of our dishes are right up here. Eventually, I want to do a whole renovation of this space and do some really cool things to this room and do a very, very deep organization. I tend to film a lot in this angle because usually the lighting is really pretty, but since it's not, this is what it looks like right now. All of our baking stuff is here, the mixer is here, the sink is here, the stovetop is right here. Like, I will say with this kitchen, it is very ergonomic. I feel like cooking in this kitchen is very easy, and it's because everything in here is very well placed. Like, I don't think there's anything in here that isn't placed well. Welcome to the sitting room slash living room. We just call it the living room because we don't have a TV in here, and I just feel like sitting room just sounds so just not us. We have this piano. This piano came with the house. When my friend opened it to tune it, the inside said 1848. The exterior is like 1940s. The innards of the piano are so old, and I was like kind of shocked. So cool. On top of the piano, I just put this very big, beautiful, ornate mirror. We have some little things here that I've thrifted over the years or found at antique stores, like this oil painting that I think is just so sweet. Because this video is gonna be really, really long if I sit and show you guys everything. If you guys want a further tour of each room, let me know. I definitely at some point want to either add shelving around this room or do wallpaper around this room, but wallpaper is very, very expensive. So in the meantime, we have this really beautiful piano. It was free-ish because we bought an entire house to get the piano, but it is very old, very cool, and just so fitting. It also comes with this hand-embroidered seat. Are you kidding me? This couch is from IKEA. We got it at our first apartment. It does the job. I think I could get a different one at some point, and I don't hate it. Do I love gray? No. We'll figure it out someday. I think my favorite thing about this house is the doors. Aside from the wood floors everywhere, they don't make doors this beautiful anymore. They're tall, they're stunning, they're so good. Behind me is this entryway, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Over here we have my husband's dad chair. It is very comfy. Not much to say about it other than that it exists, and it goes pretty well in this room, and it's very, very cozy. This is the blanket chest. I love how it matches the floors. It's like almost kind of like this seamless transition. It almost gives like window seat energy. I usually just put a plant on here and then a few books just to kind of dress it up. But because it's actually a useful item, I try not to put too much on here. The entire house is still heated by radiators. A lot of the rooms have radiator covers. These radiator covers have been with this house since the dawn of time, since this house was built and created. As of right now, this is what we use it for. door, and it just is kind of like a mantelpiece. One of the hardest things about radiators is you can't move them. They're just there. So you have to kind of work with the house to decorate with them. So instead of being annoyed by it, I basically just treat it like a huge piece of decoration. We just have little prints and things, wedding photos, seasonal decorations, old books. I love old books, and I think this house serves them well. I'm not gonna go into full detail, but I recently got this very cheap bookshelf from IKEA for like 40 bucks, and we just put all the things on it that help serve purpose. Storage is definitely a huge plus of this house, but also it weirdly doesn't have any like communal storage. So using this bookshelf as storage, our Switch and Nintendo games are in here, and just video game things. Some of my camera gear is down here so that I can just quickly grab it and film. And then the lowest shelf is a bunch of kid books for my daughter, which I love. Behind the living room is my daughter's playroom. I know I said that like every room is my favorite room. This is one of my favorite rooms. It is so warm and inviting. I love it, and I will probably continue to say that each room is my favorite room. I'm just so lucky to have many different rooms to enjoy in this house. Between the living room and this playroom are these pocket doors, which are noisy, but I love them so much. And also, one day, I can close these puppies up and let the mess and let the loud all be in here. We have some IKEA shelving over here. I will do a further deep tour into this room. Child development is my passion, and giving my daughter the most whimsical playroom in the world has always been my dream since I was a little girl. This is kind of just where we store a lot of her toys. It's where I put all of the toys that are consistently down here, like the toys that don't really go out of rotation. Her play silks are in here, some puzzles, baby doll gear, instruments, you know, animals and stuff like that. Over here is sort of a disorganized little reading nook. I have some books from the library over here. That way I don't lose track of them. We have a little pillow. This Pottery Barn chair was from my old boss, which was amazing and very, very sweet of her. We have some books behind us. Her little milestones blocks are still here. I just don't have the heart to move them. We have a basket of magnet tiles over here, and honestly, like the larger toys. This is one of the first shelves that I painted in this house. It was left here by the previous owners. It was a very ugly, like gray brown color, and I'm like, no, let's just keep it simple. And what I like about a white shelf in a kid space is that you can find everything. So she can find all of her toys in here, and there's no missing them. She can see them. So I can add very colorful toys onto a shelf, and she can actually find them. Like these puzzle pieces, they're all easily accessible, and I feel like it allows her things to sort of pop and allows her imagination to not feel so cluttered by the things. All of her board books in here, and some of the toys that like I don't feel like putting away go up here. Eventually we'll reorder this whole situation here and it'll make a little bit more sense, but with her being, you know, still pretty short and young, this bottom shelf is used as a toy rotation, which is very fun. Behind me is this record station. My daughter is so into having me play old Disney records on while she's playing. I have a record player over there that's not a fancy one, but it's really nice because I'm not worried about it breaking. I mean, I would prefer it didn't. And then I just store all of these wonderful records in here. And then we just have her play triangle right to the corner here that easily folds. I have it out a lot for this video's purposes. I just put it in the corner there. Right before Christmas, I found this play kitchen that I have been searching for a long time. This was last year's big Christmas gift. I found it for a very affordable price compared to the $1,000 mark that it would have been if I would have purchased it new back in the day. It's so nice. It's such good quality. It's really a good height for her to grow into, and there's so much storage. If you guys want to see like a detailed tour, I'll put my TikTok down. I did do a little tour of it on TikTok if you want to see like how I organize all of her things, but yeah, just a little sneak peek here. We love to like have an organized play fridge. I just think it's so much easier for her to put the things away. This bathroom is a time capsule to the 1950s. It's nothing fancy, nothing new. It's a very old bathroom. I'll show you guys some little clips of it, but it's really hard to film in here because of how small it is and how awkward it is. So I will show you guys a little bit of some glimpses of the past if you guys are curious on a very old, not updated at all bathroom. This is TV room. There is a lot of work that needs to be done in here. I showed a few clips. I'll continue to show you guys a few. It's really just going to be a very different space once we get our hands on it. I want this room to be a deep, rich green. This room gets the least amount of light in our house, other than right now when the afternoon light comes in through the French doors, and we get a lot of light in here. But otherwise it stays fairly dark in here. So I wanted to kind of lean into the darkness and add a very like romantic, deep green in this room, from ceiling to walls, and just have it very cozy. We also want to do some trim on the walls, but our walls are plaster, and nailing things into plaster doesn't exist. Behind these French doors is this stunning front porch room, which I love, but it definitely needs some work. It's got some things in here that don't need to be in here that we've been putting in here because it just works. As you can see, this room is beautiful. There's so much beautiful wood in here, and I actually love the wood in here, but you gotta kind of figure out what is worth it, and a porch room that we don't use as often is not gonna be as priority for us right now with having a little family and being on one income. But I absolutely love this room so much. I think it is so beautiful, and I can't wait to see what it ends up turning into as time moves on. I love just how much light it gets. I love using it in the fall. I've been reading on this beanbag chair that again is going to move. We got it for free, and it's definitely huge and does not really fit our house anymore, so we need to find somewhere else for it to go. Behind me is obviously a bunch of junk because we gotta clean it out. We gotta put things in different places in the house and just kind of sort it through. I think it's so much fun. Some of the things that have stayed in this house's history, such as this old doorbell, which actually works. And it sounds a lot like an apartment building's little buzzing sound, which I think is so much fun. Behind me is the entryway room. So you'd come in and then you'd be able to go right through in here, which I have to keep the cat separate, so I'm going to close off my cat quick. This is the grand staircase, and grand is definitely the word I would use for this room. This was what sold me on the house when we first looked at it. The whole house was kind of cluttered. It was very dirty, very messy, kind of filthy. And this room, though messy, it just stood out. It didn't matter what time of day it was. It didn't matter that it was nighttime. This room is so beautiful. It is very tall. The ceilings go up very high because it takes the lower level and upper level and just binds it. And I just love this room so much. It is very hard to film in here. I did switch my lens, even though this lens isn't as good quality. I did switch it just so you guys can kind of see. They don't make houses like this anymore, and I find this to be so cool. Once you come up the stairs, you are greeted with this big bookshelf. This is kind of a work in progress as well as most of the houses. We just kind of stuck some books on here, some art books, some cool old antiques, this really cool mirror, and just have a lot of our things here that make sense for us, as this really is one of the best places to put our books. So that's kind of where all these things are, and anything that just doesn't fit on a bookshelf downstairs or in the rooms goes here. Welcome to my office. I did a full tour of this room and renovation video of this room. They're already up on my channel, so I'll give you guys some sneak peek clips of this room, and then we'll move on because I do think that this room has already done a lot of justice. To the rest of the house, I did want to share that this house, this upper level, has 5 bedrooms. So we are very lucky to be able to play with these rooms however we choose. The upstairs is a little bit more of a private space, so I won't share every single room and every single space. Holy cow, is this hallway so much fun. It's the stereotypical long, beautiful hallway that I just adore so much. Okay, I did want to say my husband's office is not fit for people being able to see it. It is very messy, so I did decide to not share that room. Welcome to my master bedroom. This is another room that I want to do some fun things to. There is a very cool toned blue on the top, and then we have this really stark white on the lower half. I want to add some gold to continue to warm this room up and add some just really cool vintage paintings. This is the room where I want to have like a big collage of old art and even some of our wedding photos and stuff like that. Also, this big dresser here has some gold to it, so I think tying in the gold in different areas of this room will be so fun. One of my favorite things about this room is the fact that this door is so different in contrasts to the blue on tops. I just think they complement each other other so well. And I think the white really just brightens it up and makes it feel fresh. And that's what I want a room to feel. I want a room to feel fresh and clean and crispy and just very zen. Here is another angle of this room. Again, I want to kind of make it brief and quick up here. This old dresser that I got on Marketplace a few years ago, a TV that we barely ever use, and then our bed is over here. I'm really grateful to have this giant mirror here. I think it just makes the room feel so much more grand and huge and beautiful because the house is older. There are times where you don't feel that like new, fresh energy. You kind of have the old energy. Mirrors, for some reason, just make things feel clean and crisp, especially if it's actually a clean mirror, which a lot of the times, I'm not gonna lie, it's not very clean in here. But this room definitely is the most neglected when it comes to cleaning because what parent has a clean room? I don't really know many. Of course, we have the bed. It's probably hard to see me. Again, this lens isn't that most ideal, but this bed is from IKEA and this is from Room Essentials. The cheapest comforter that I could find. We had spent a lot of money on the house and everything like that, so I just wanted to go very, very cheap for the comforter in here because the one that we had did not match this room at all. We also decided to go mismatched with the nightstands just because it made sense for us. This is, of course, my side of the bed, and that is my nightstand. Usually it's not this clean, but for the sake of the video, I did try to clean it up just a little bit. I will give you guys a little glimmer of my daughter's bedroom. Since it's her room, I don't know how much I want to share of this room in this space, but I am very proud of it, so I will share what it is now. I think as she gets older, I'll probably keep this room a lot more private. And with her being a toddler, this is very much so a space. Obviously honor her wants and needs and all the things that she's really into in this space. It also has to function for the needs of having a toddler and having to store all the toddler things in here and being in here so much. I wanted to go very cottagecore in this room, and I want you guys to guess how much I spent on this room. I want you guys to put it in the comments. I'll pin a comment down below for you guys to guess how much you think I spent on the furniture in this room, because it'll blow your mind when you find out how much I spent in total with crib, rocker, and the dresser included. If you guessed 150 total, then you were right. So this was 50, the rocker was 50, and her crib was 50 bucks. I don't think I've ever felt more thrilled about finding furniture for a room than when I found furniture for my daughter's room. And then we have her crib, as well as these little shelves which store some old fun things. I will share something very, very special that I have in this room. This is a bear, I forget what they're called. It's like one of the first teddy bears, and they were made out of straw. And my grandma had one that she had passed down to me, which I'm so grateful for. And so the fact that my grandma ended up passing this down for me to put in my daughter's room and to have kind of passed down through the years is very, very special. I have a bunch of old books, very cottagey books, like vintage Bambi books. The last room that I'm going to share with you guys today is the maid's bedroom, aka my friend's new room. Might have waited to find out where the old maid stairway ended up leading to, and it actually leads to my friend's current room where they are staying right now. This is how we are managing the green. So when I tell you guys that the green and the ceilings in here are giant, and to try to put a ladder on these stairs to get to these 20-foot ceilings, it's just not happening. So for now, my friend has decided to have these really beautiful curtains to sort of shut away this room and almost make it feel like a wall. That way it kind of feels like a wall and allows it to feel more secluded and like an official room. But when you open it out, you get this really beautiful look into the stairway. Obviously the colors slightly clash, but I'm so happy with how their room ended up turning out. But then down here is the old maid stairway. There are patches everywhere. I'm currently working on repainting the green so that it's more cohesive because there were a lot of holes in the wall, so just bear with those. Thank you guys so much for watching this wonderful house tour. It's been a long time coming. I am so happy with my house. I feel like I wanted to go so much further in terms of like the history, what the rooms were, all of the different things. But because it's a big old house, there's so much to show and share and so much history and just cool things that I want to talk about with it. If you guys want any tour of any specific room, please let me know. I would love to show you guys more in-depth details of different rooms that you guys want to see. happy, and I'm going to continue to renovate this house and make it exactly as we want. Anyways, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this video. If you want more content like this, I have an office tour that I will post right down below. I also have a bunch of other really cozy content that's a little different from this that I think you guys will like even more. But anyways, I will see you guys very, very soon, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.